Welcome back to another episode of Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, it's been a while, bud.
Yeah, it's 10 days.
Since we recorded? Longer than that, right? Today is Monday. Our last recording was Tuesday of 2 weeks ago, so it's about 14.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn.
It's crazy. It feels like a long time, but it's not.
Right?
For those that are new, we are the Buffalo Happy Hour. We appreciate any and all support. We are on all major podcast platforms. If you're new, please subscribe. Latest numbers, as of 2 weeks ago, we're at like 76% of viewers are not subscribed. So Derek's going to quickly pull up the numbers.
And we got 311 subs as of today.
Which is great.
It is good.
Yeah, which is great. So regarding any background noise, we apologize. It's super hot out today.
We have a
So we have
heat warning tomorrow.
Yeah,
You see that?
Yeah, and
That's
we
weird.
have
312. Look at that,
312.
bud.
I think it's coming from the west, that heat wave. But anyways, if you hear some background humming, it is just the air conditioning unit so that we don't start sweltering 3 minutes in, because we put a lot of insulation into the studio, so that's where we're at.
It went down. We're at 73 people now.
73%?
73%, yeah.
73%.
Which is good.
That's
probably
good.
those couple people that just subscribed.
See? There we go.
Our complaining works.
Yes. So, again, thank you. And we have a couple big topics to discuss. First and foremost, Derek and I took a small vacation and went up to Maine.
Vacation.
Went up to Maine for my wedding, which was my second wedding to the same woman because I had to postpone. I don't know, there was a virus or something. I guess it impacted a couple people. So we had to postpone a few times, and then we're finally able to have the wedding. So thank you and Gina for coming.
Absolutely, man. It
Really
was a great
appreciate
time. We had such a blast. The property was gorgeous. I mean, I can't believe that the day after you guys got married, it was the 100-year anniversary of you guys having, Colleen's family having the property.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous, too. I mean, right when you walk out, especially low tide, it was perfect. Like, you can walk across to another island, basically.
Yeah, to the beach.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. And then the Atlantic is right there. So the whole experience was great. I'm glad everybody that came and had a good time.
How do you feel being officially married for the second time?
So I was fine after the first round of it. I had a blast. However, legally we got married 10 months ago in the state of New York, which is great, because then when we got to have the wedding in Maine, because for those that don't know, it was in Maine, it was better for, we need background lights, by the way, on your phone through the app, because apparently everything's high tech nowadays. The whole process of getting married in Maine would have been a little more difficult just regarding paperwork and some of the admin tasks that many people don't even realize need to occur to get married. So having that completed was wonderful. And then after that, we did, you mentioned the brunch, and then we had a mini moon after that. So we were able to sit there until Thursday and just kind of decompress, enjoy the fact that we had our quote-unquote dream wedding with 92 people.
So that was a planned mini moon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice and quaint in regards to the attendees, but I'm glad you had fun.
Absolutely.
How was the food?
Very good.
I crushed my food.
Yeah. Do you even remember it? Do you remember much of that night or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
I was
good.
stone sober the whole day.
Well, not even sober. It's just when you get married, I've heard that you don't really get a chance to experience it because you're too busy making sure everybody else is having a good time.
Yeah. If there's any advice to anybody that listens that wants some advice in regards to conducting their wedding, having a day of planner changes everything, because you're so stressed out leading up to it that it's just nice to kind of relieve yourself of all the duties, and then someone else can take over and make sure that it's done. And for us, it was big because we met working in the wedding industry. So it was difficult for us to quote unquote let go, more so me than her. But it was fantastic having a day of coordinator. So what did you think of, so you went to Boston before Maine.
Yeah.
How was the driving situation in Boston, where they built the city before roads existed, essentially? So how was the public transport
First of all,
aspect?
before we get away from the food, the appetizers were bomb.
Oh, at the
Just
wedding?
saying. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your appetizers, you had what? Bacon wrapped steak
Scallops.
filled with, bacon wrapped beef filled with blue cheese or something like that.
Yeah.
So good. You had
Yep.
bacon wrapped scallops.
Yes.
You had this little spoon that you can eat, which I didn't even know was possible. That was fantastic.
It was
dude.
an edible spoon corn. It was cornbread shaped in a spoon that was edible, obviously, and then there was pulled pork inside the spoon. It was really cool.
So happy that you did that.
A potato pancake
Yeah.
because we're Irish, and then there was a full raw bar full of lobster, clams, shrimp, and then there was like a cheese spread as well. The whole cocktail hour was
Yeah.
insane
It was
food wise.
awesome.
Yeah, a lot of food. there
it
was
was
fruit. It was good, but I'm glad.
But yeah, so I love driving to Boston. I love Boston. I love the city. I love that all of the roads are underground because I think that is the way of the future. So
Wait, so everything
it's-
in Boston's underground?
for the most part, yeah, you're
Okay.
driving underneath the city. So when you enter like the Boston area, I mean, there's streets above ground, obviously, but like the main highway is all underground. So when you're driving, like if you need to get off at an exit, it's kind of challenging because you lose GPS service and you're like, ah, where do I get off? But it's cool. I mean, I love it. It's really not that challenging if you kind of just follow the signs, which you should be doing anyway. But to me, it's just a great city. I got pulled into a street performance, which was exciting. Have you ever been pulled into a street performance? Have you ever been anywhere where there's street performers?
Yeah. I've witnessed them, but I've never been pulled into one.
I got pulled into two of them. Or no, I'm sorry. I got singled out in two of them and pulled into one. I'm just this goony looking
Interesting.
dude that's standing in the corner that kind of looks like security, but also looks like I'm a dad tourist, you know?
Yeah.
So they always see me because I'm basically towering over all the 22-year-old girls that are watching because they're so excited, Instagram and everything. But the one dude, I was standing there and I had my hands crossed like this just because it's kind of comfy for me to stand like this. And he's like, come on, man, look like you're having fun. I'm like, dude, stop talking to me. Just do backflips or something. I don't know. But that first one was pretty cool. He did like a Michael Jackson inspired dance. He started moonwalking, doing flips, doing robots. Did you ever think that about breakdance when you were younger or no?
Choreographed dance, yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I've taken a couple classes of it just because I find them
What?
amazingly fun. Oh, yeah.
What type of classes?
Like choreographed dance.
I know, but like what type?
Like what you would, like hip hop, basically, like
Okay,
what you
hip-hop.
see in like music videos.
Why'd you do that?
I love dancing, dude.
When did you stop? Was this like last year or something?
No, it was 2014, 15, 16 time frame.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Can you do something like right here?
No.
Like, come on,
No, I'm good.
we got
I'm
these
good.
cameras. I can zoom out, bro.
You definitely can, but we will not have to. So, but yeah, actually, a guy I went to school with is
I'm shocked.
relatively famous. He owns his own dance studio out in LA, but he started dancing in Buffalo, graduated with my sister in high school, and then he's been dancing his whole life. So he was a backup dancer at a Super Bowl. So he's awesome.
Who was the actual singer that he was the dancer to? Do you remember?
For the
Shakira.
No, I don't know if it was. No, I don't think it was Shakira. I can look it up on his IG.
Yeah.
It was years ago. But anyways, he's been in a ton of music videos. Once he got to California, it just basically blew up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the opportunities for him. But yeah, he's very well known here. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I know you went to this location, which we should try to interview at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, do you recommend any other places as well? And then he basically just said, like, what are you trying to do? And I said, I just want to have fun
Right.
and just like dance and just learn some stuff or whatever. I'm not, obviously it's nothing serious, nowhere near what you've been doing. And he responded, like, he was super cool about it, really down to earth. He's like, definitely go here. They are like where I went. However, you're going to get a lot out of it. And I was
Sure.
like, all right, cool. So did that. And then I have another buddy out in LA that does the same thing.
That's fascinating that you did that.
Yeah.
Did you and Colleen do it together, or you just wanted to go on this journey by yourself?
No, it was just me. I mean, her and I started dating in November 2013, so it was right when we first started dating, and I just loved to dance, dude. I mean, you saw me at my wedding. I was soaked.
That's why. Well, everybody was soaked, I think. It was so hot that day.
Yeah. That's why I was also sober. I literally sweat
Yeah,
everything out.
I know, really.
But
That's fascinating that you took dance lessons, dude. I'm kind of impressed.
yeah,
But
they weren't necessarily like lessons. I just like jumped into the classes that they had.
AKA lessons.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like someone was holding your hips and guiding you through the salsa or whatever.
Correct.
But it was,
yeah, they were like, hey, these are the steps. Like, we're going to rehearse these, and then we're going to go live. We're going to rehearse these next steps, and we're going to go live. And at the end of the class, you put the whole dance together, and then
you're just
you got the whole dance. Yeah.
Just doing like I mean, you were vibing on the dance floor.
I always vibe on the dance floor. Oh yeah, dude, it's a lifestyle. But yeah,
Did you and Colleen ever think about taking actual dances for your first dance? or
dude,
no?
I tried so hard. I was like, it's our wedding. Like, I really want to do. I'm not saying like salsa stuff, but
Right.
like ballroom dancing, no part of it.
Really?
She's like, I'm fine. I was like, fine. We'll just like awkwardly stand in circles and just go in circles. I'm like, love you to death. But I wanted to like have a full on thing. I had so many ideas. None of it happened. Dude, I also had dreams of like playing the piano for like,
Like Roy from The Office, just start bedazzling her. Like, I know that you thought that I was playing hockey, but I was actually doing this, and then just start going off.
yeah, like something crazy, and then didn't happen. It's fine. It's fine. The whole wedding was perfect. I mean, obviously there was a roller coaster of emotions throughout the entire event, but it was honestly way better than we expected.
Yeah.
So we did get a lot of compliments because her family also has individuals in it that are planners for like major, say like a hotel chain, and they're like, you guys from Buffalo really know how to throw a party. This is the second party we've been to, and you guys just like throw a really good party. We're like,
Yeah.
good, because
Is-
that's the whole intent.
Is that your guys' family, like your and Colleen's family, though? Because it seemed like everybody was there dancing. Like, when you go to weddings, there's always like the bride is out there, two of her bridesmaids, because the other four are throwing up in the bathroom, a couple of groomsmen that are trying to get some of the bridesmaids, and then like a random drunk uncle. But like for your wedding, it was everybody was out there the entire time. So is that just your like your guys' family, or was it the DJ that kind of brought people out because you played the right songs and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
1000% DJ,
Okay.
and we learned that working in the wedding industry.
Sure,
The
yeah.
DJ has way more power that they yield that you really don't anticipate. So to have a really good DJ changes the entire game.
For sure.
But there's an aspect of the individuals that are present for sure, and I personally think that there was a lot of quality people over quantity, and that really helped out. But I mean, you don't think to play Shipping Off to Boston
Right.
unless it's like a recommendation from people that are super Irish that came from Boston, because you don't know that as a DJ. But then to acknowledge it and time it and mix it in and like do the actual art of it to bring people to the floor,
Yeah.
it wasn't, dude, it was a mob scene. It was like a flash mob. As soon as the song started, there were 60-year-olds running over tables to get to the dance floor. I've never seen it before in my life.
Yeah.
I bruised my pinky because I was clapping so hard at the song. So most people don't know this, but so it was Tuesday, and the rental company came to pick up and tear down everything. All the furniture, the dance floor, tables and chairs, the tent, the whole nine. And I watched them remove the dance floor. Dude, it was like in the lawn.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, is that because of the weight of the dance floor? And he's like, typically it's not this difficult to get the dance floor up. And I was like, sweet man. So we sunk the dance floor into the yard.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing.
There's a lot of jumping.
Stomping of the feet, jumping up and down.
What I liked about your wedding too, and maybe this is again the DJ, or I don't know if you guys had any requests to the DJ, but you didn't play Sweet Caroline. You didn't play Don't Stop Believin'. You didn't play those old songs that everybody has at their wedding. That is just like, dude, come on.
Correct.
Nobody wants to hear this.
Correct.
Nobody wants Bob. No, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
We're not
No,
doing this.
It was a rager. So we gave him like some, obviously there's set things like intro, we want this song, first dances, or any dance,
Yeah,
we need
sure.
these songs. And then we're like, you know us. And we're like, do your thing, free reign. And then he has their songs that they'll never play. One of which is the Shout song by Bon Jovi, because we all hate Bon Jovi
Yeah.
ever
Oh,
since
yeah,
the
he's
whole
the
Bills
worst.
thing. But like, the Cha Cha Slide was never played.
Yeah, that's true. None of
So,
those
like,
were.
yeah,
Like,
like-
Cupid Shuffle, none
No,
of that
'cause you don't need
instruction
it.
song.
Yeah, like you don't need it. Like
You don't
just
need it if
go
you're a good
rage.
DJ.
Correct.
If you're a bad DJ, it helps get people out, because like there's people like your great uncle that doesn't know how to dance, and he's like, oh, this to the okay, I know to go to the right now. Oh, now I'm going to the left, and now I don't know what Cupid Shuffle means, but I'll do some sort of shimmy and stuff. But you need those songs to get people out on the dance floor if you're not a good DJ.
Correct. And they're just never played
Yeah.
because you don't need them.
Correct.
So he just went all out. We had a ball.
Yeah.
And then I think it worked out well where there was the couple first songs in the beginning that any age group could dance to, and then there was a couple moments where it was Ratchet, which was amazing because it throws everybody off,
Yeah.
and then it brings more people. There was Whitney Houston thrown in randomly, and then it got to like the the area specific stuff, like the
Yeah.
Bill Shout song, shipping off to Boston, like the whole thing. But everything came together really well. I'm just glad you guys were there
Yeah, hell
to
yeah.
party with us.
So, kind of going back to the street dancers, because that's kind of where we went off on this tangent.
Oh, yeah,
So,
dude.
I got pulled into the street performance. It was very awkward. So, I used to go to Boston quite a bit. Back when 2014, 2015, I was in Boston like 5 or 6 times because I was interviewing for a police job out there. I was going to go be law enforcement in Cape Cod. So I had to go out there one time for the physical test, one time for a personality test, one time for the actual test, like the written test itself. And then I had to go back one more time. But like, I would always go to Boston, the city, when I was on Cape Cod because Cape Cod is so behind the time. They have like mini golf places going up like crazy. It's like nobody mini golfs anymore. And these places were rip roaring. Like they had the fake monkeys hanging over the putting green. And it's like, dude, you're like 14 years behind because Buffalo already did this. And we're pretty far behind from the rest of the U.S. also.
Very far behind.
So for Cape Cod to just be catching up to us 14 years later, it's kind of like, all right, let's dial it back a little bit. But so I'd always go to Boston. And back then, I'd watch these street performances. I don't know if they're the same exact guys, but they were dressed the same. They had this light blue teal shirt on. They had like these teal purple, like shorts, like kind of athletic shorts, I guess, on. And they were good back then. They were flipping over people. They were engaging the crowd. They were very entertaining to watch. And I never got pulled in. Now, 14 years later, or whatever it is, I keep throwing out the 14 years. It's actually 8 years later. The guys got old. Like, they're old dudes. Like, they're all missing teeth. The one dude had, like, a gimp leg. And I understand you're flipping over people all the time. But maybe instead of doing this, you should do something else because you can't really walk. So I got pulled in, and he's like, oh, you're tall. Come here. We're going to flip over you. I'm like, bro, I'm not.
You're like, I have health insurance, but we gotta. Is there a form? You
Right,
know, how do
yeah.
how do I transfer liability to you guys?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went in there thinking I was going to get flipped over, which was fine. Just bring me out there, flip over me. Let me get back to my life. I am going to go to dinner. I'm starving right now. My
Yeah.
stomach's gurgling, all that stuff.
Starvin' Marvin.
Yeah. So I get pulled out there and he starts making us do like all this stuff. He brings us to one side and he makes us like walk with swag to the other side, like in front of,
Sick, bro.
yeah, in front of like 75 people. I'm like, all right, I don't care. None of these people are going to see me anymore. What the hell's going on? You want to flip that switch, boy? Is this
Yeah, it's on. The switch is on. There it is.
Nailed it. So he like made us walk from one end to the other, and I'm like, all right, this is weird. And then he made us do it again, and then he made us like, I don't even know what he did, but it was like 15 minutes later that I'm still a part of this dance group.
Oh wow.
And
Were you just standing there the whole time?
yeah, because then after that, he started going around trying to collect donations to everybody. And every single time somebody would donate, he would stop the whole event and talk about, I don't know what's going on with this thing. Maybe this thing is like dying or something. He would talk to everybody and be like, oh, stop. We got a hot donation. And then everyone, the other people would be like, how much is it? Randy, and he'd be like, oh, $5, yeah, all right, keep the show going. And then he would go to the next person, stop, we got another donation.
That's so
How
annoying.
much is it? I know, and I can see like Gina's like, all right, guy, let's let's do something here. And he did that forever. Not kidding, forever. And then he got to me, and I had money in my pocket, but like we were going out to dinner. Like I didn't know how much we were gonna spend. So he comes up to me and he goes, how much you got? You want to donate? I'm like, no, bro, I don't have anything. And he's like, pat him down. I'm like, are you kidding me? So the dude starts patting me down and like got to my wallet. He's like, just kidding. I'm like, oh, I would have knocked you out. But anyway, so they brought in this like 3-year-old girl that was no more than like a foot or like 2 feet tall.
To be fair, I
2.5
straight
feet
up would have
tall.
dropped him.
Right? Tell
Go
me
on.
about it. If he would have touched me, like if he would have taken out my wallet and been like, this dude has 50s, I would have knocked him.
Correct.
That would not be cool.
Correct.
So at this point, I'm like, dude, I just want to get back. Like, I just want to go. But I couldn't like just do that because then they'd call me out as I'm walking down the street. And I'm just like, just whatever. Who cares? So he brought in this like 3 foot tall girl, 2.5 foot tall girl, and the dude flipped over her. And then he brought all of us, which it was me and 3 other dudes. And the one dude was like an old 65-year-old guy. He was drunk and he was hitting on like this 12-year-old girl. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, bud? And then his wife gave like hundreds of dollars to these actors, and it was just very weird. But anyway, so he made us bend over, touch our toes, and then he flipped over our back. I'm like, this is cool, but you could have done this 45 minutes ago, and it would have been just as cool.
Correct.
Like, it was obnoxious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Boston. We went out to get food after that. It was very delicious. But yeah, it was a good time. I love Boston, but just I'm not going to go to street performers again. I'll go to the dudes that are like banging on the paint cans and stuff like that. Like, that's pretty cool. Or like the people that spray paint. Those are sweet, but don't flip over me again.
Yeah, they're like gypsies.
I'm going to wear
back in Notre Dame.
I know. I'm going to wear a sign now that says like, don't flip over me.
That's a t-shirt.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of t-shirts, man, the boys at First Line Brewing just came out with new merch.
Nice.
Good merch too.
Yeah.
Their stuff before was vinyl pressed, which you and I have talked about, like vinyl pressing, and we talked with Positive Approach, who actually they use to do these shirts too.
Nice.
Which is cool. But we talked with Positive Approach about how vinyl pressing normally isn't like the best for merchandise because it doesn't let the fabric breathe at all, because it's literally taping something over the top basically. But now they upgraded to this stuff. So it's the First Line Brewing logo, and then on the back,
nice, their full logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is really sweet. And then I got another army green shirt that has the same logo here in black. And then on the back it says Hops of Freedom, one of their beers.
Nice.
It's really sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just came out with new merch. And I went to Mikey's stag the other day
Oh, nice.
because he's getting married.
Good.
In like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went there, drank a lot of beer. It's a good time. Obviously, you're going to First Line Brewing, you're going to drink a lot of beer.
Correct.
I had Reed's beer, the
Yeah.
Mr. Nice. Dude, it was so good.
That's amazing.
It was so delicious.
Yeah.
It was like pineapple thick sour, but also a New England IPA. It was fascinating.
It's a creation.
Hell yeah.
I don't understand how they can make all that happen. But
No
good on
idea.
them, because
Yeah.
it's good beer.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was a very fun time over at First Line Brewing, and go buy some of their merch because it's awesome.
Yeah, help support.
Oh yeah.
Good deal.
So you're done at the wedding. They picked up all the floor. They packed everything else up. What happened after that? How was your drive home? How was your drive there?
The drive home wasn't too bad. I ended up needing to pull over and let Colleen finish the drive because for some odd reason I was smoked after 6 out of the 7.5 hours it took. So Colleen took over and finished the drive, which is great. So got home. Sam immediately put himself to bed, which was hilarious because he's got like post-vacay. It's not like depression, but he's just exhausted.
He's tired, man.
Yeah. So
You're running around in the sand all week.
there was a lot of swimming. So he basically put himself to bed. We unpacked all that good stuff. And then I ended up going to work on that Friday, which was kind of funny because there was really no need.
Yeah.
But either way,
Did you get a lot done or no?
I had to respond to like 50 emails and then do some other admin stuff. But yeah, it was good. Left work, swung over to Enterprise and picked up my rental car, and I picked it up early. So for me to pick it up early, they didn't have like anything on the lot because they're like, we're low on inventory. So when we told you to come pick it up, it was for a reason because we're waiting on a car to come back. And I was like, all right, that makes sense. And he goes, you just trying to get on the road? And I said, yeah, it's like an 8-hour drive. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to Long Island, baby. Like, I need a car. And I said, I don't care what it is. I just need your smallest 4-cylinder car. It can be a coupe. I don't care what it is. Just make it work. And he's like, okay, sounds good. He's like, can you give me like a little bit, like an hour or so? And I said, yeah, I live a mile away. Give me a call when you got something in. We'll go from there. He's like, all right, sounds good. So I get home, start doing dishes, trying to clean up because we've only been home for like 11 hours at this point. Colleen also had to work. So all of a sudden my phone rings. I pick it up. He's like, hey man, this guy over at Enterprise, just want to let you know I got a car in for you. Does this sound good? He's like, it's a 2021 Beamer. I'm like, sure. Like, yeah, that works. He's like, all right, it's a 4 Series. I'm like, okay. So he's like, my guy's just finishing it up at the car wash, and then he's going to drop it off. And then you can, he'll basically pick you up so you don't have to worry about your car. And then you can swing over and do paperwork, and then we'll go. I was like, all right, sweet. Super nice of him. Really accommodating and like down-to-earth people at that location, which is like refreshing.
Was that the airport one?
Kind of. Gotcha. So there's the airport one, and then there's another one down Genesee.
Oh, okay.
So it was the one down on Genesee. So I went closer to Union. So I swung down, and he goes, all right, so I had to work the rates a little bit because there's like a $30 charge to pick it up 2 hours early. I'm like, whatever. So he's like, the car's right here. So I get in this thing, and it's not a 4 Series. It's a 5 Series spaceship, white Beamer, brand new, 11,000 miles on this thing, 2021, and I'm sitting in it, and there's bucket seats that has every potential option you could ever want. And he goes, all right, man, like, this is basically how you work it. And I was like, okay. So their gear shifter's nuts. Like, you have to grab a side button and then flick the gear shifter into whatever you want it to do, whether
okay.
it's reverse or drive.
So you can't mistakenly do it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And he's like, here's your cruise control. You have paddle shifters if you want to get frisky. I was like, sounds good. I was like, cruise control's all set. I figured that out.
Drop
and
a
then,
gear, disappear, bud.
yeah. And then it's a 6-banger. So I was like, there's going to be there's some ponies in this thing. So then I'm like, I'll figure out my phone stuff later. So I swing home to pack the car with all the stuff. I have a duffel bag, a suit bag for the wedding, because it's Megafan's wedding. That's why I went to Long Island. And then my golf clubs and golf shoes. I'm like, all set. So I load the thing up. My mailman is dropping off my mail, and he's just looking at the car. And I was like, you like my rental? And he's like, rental? And I was like, yeah. He goes, this is wild. He's like, does it make you want one? I'm like, no,
Yeah,
not at all.
lame.
Because I had a luxury car before, and I'm like, there's just too much to this. Like,
And they're so expensive, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at getting a new car right now, and one of the things that I look at is like your estimated yearly cost to maintain. BMW's always number 1. Second, Mercedes.
Third is Audi.
Yeah, Audi. And then like it goes down, and then like what I want is all the way at the bottom because I don't want to deal with it, dude.
Not at all.
You need a special dealer or a special auto shop that'll work on Beamers because they're just so expensive.
Yep. Same with paint. You need specific dealerships that
yeah.
are allowed to paint the actual paint for the car if anything happens. It's wild. So anyways, so he's laughing about it. I'm like, I'm all set. Sync my phone. Forget all the other devices so I don't have to worry about that issue. And then I start driving. So I'm on the thruway, set cruise control, 72 miles an hour, everything's fine. I get to Syracuse. Wants me to get off. And I'm like, okay. So I look at the overall route, and
Going
they're
down
like,
to Binghamton and then cut over.
they're like, this is faster because there's still some tolls or whatever, but there's less tolls, and then there's construction up ahead, so we'll skip it. This is basically what Google said. So I looked at it, and I was like, oh, screw it, why not? So I take the route, and then all of a sudden, I'm in Pennsylvania.
What?
Out of nowhere. I'm like, what is going on? So I like pull up my phone, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, dude, this made me go straight south from Syracuse. Not even close to Binghamton. Like, you cut through Binghamton, kind of,
Yeah.
and then you keep going south. I'm like, this is nuts. And then you cut across and go east through Pennsylvania, through New Jersey, and then you take the bridge.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, never took this route ever before. I thought it was going to be straight 90 the whole way, which was nuts because the Thursday before leaving on that Friday, I just drove back from Maine.
Right.
So I'm like, this is going to be super boring. There's so many miles, like, whatever, it's fine. You know, God bless to my back. So I'm in Pennsylvania, and then all of a sudden, the lawlessness of these human beings ramp up. I've never experienced it in my life. Dude, they're pushing me, and I'm going 75 and a 50, and they're like, figure it out, guy. Like, go or move. Go or move. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm going 20 plus miles an hour over the speed limit.
In Mexico.
Yeah, I'm like, you people are insane. So I like get over, and they're just blowing my doors off. I'm like, this is nuts. So then you start to feel invincible because then you realize there's no one out here.
Right.
So if the locals are going 90, you go 90
Right,
because
yeah.
they know where the cops are. So I'm like, God bless. So I start ripping. All of a sudden, I'm watching the Google time, and it's just like trickling down. I'm like, yeah, baby, it's a race. I'm like, this is it. Fast 9 just came out. We're going full send. So I'm getting all juiced up, and then as soon as I'm about to enter New Jersey, I look over, and I see this giant black spot on the side of the road, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden, there's black bear roadkill in Pennsylvania right before I enter New Jersey, and I'm sitting there fascinated. I'm like, holy hell, like that, seriously? Like, what hit that thing? And there's blood everywhere, all over the right lane, the shoulder, the guardrail, and then there he is, like, only you can prevent forest fires cousin is sitting there.
Did you take the head?
Staring at me. No, but I almost stopped it. That was what Megafan said. He's like, go get a pelt. I'm like, what is this, Red Dead Redemption? Like, this is nuts. So I, blow by it, text Colleen with the voice thing. I'm like, there's black bear roadkill in Pennsylvania. She's like, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. I'm following the majestic blue line. So I'm cruising enter New Jersey, and then it just ramps up a little bit more, and these people in New Jersey are just out of their mind driving. They're going from, like, the first lane to the third lane to the second, back to the third, all the way back to the first. I'm like, gee, okay. It's like Gotham. So then...
It's like Gotham.
So then I finally get to the George Washington Bridge. Now... You know how there's some disparity between upstate and downstate in the state of New York, where
nobody knows what it is.
So for those that don't live in New York, if you live in downstate New York, like Big Apple, Five Boroughs, Long Island, all that, anything above you in the state is considered upstate. They don't realize that there's Central New York, the Capital Region, upstate, the real upstate, Western New York, which is like Rochester to us and Buffalo, the whole nine. They don't get it. Everything is upstate to them because they're so far south. Mm-hmm. So I got to the George Washington Bridge, which, great name. What else would you call that?
Absolutely.
Also, no easy pass in the car at all. They're like, you just drive through it, and then we charge the card. I'm like, this is what Enterprise does now? So it's just like the state goes, nah, it's a rental. We'll just charge the card that's assigned to that license plate. Like, it's not. So they fine Enterprise, and the Enterprise charges your card what the total is for tolls. That's how it works now. Gotcha. Also, they scan your auto insurance policy for the insurance used for the rental. So it's on you as the driver. It's no longer on Enterprise.
Oh,
you know how you used to,
sucks.
they're like, hey, do you want rental insurance?
Yeah.
That doesn't exist. It's like, no, this literally just goes on your auto policy. I'm like, oh, okay. So I actually cared.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, this is nuts. So George Washington Bridge, looking around, I felt like Macaulay Culkin. I'm like, this is nuts. Like, there it is. Like, you see the skyline, and that was the first time I felt like a hick.
You go out the hotel doors and you make a right.
Yeah, so I'm driving, and you go from, 10 lanes to 3 to get on the George Washington Bridge. Yeah. So, obviously, it's a cluster beyond all imagine. So, I'm driving, this car that I have absolutely no reason to be in.
No business being in it at all.
Nothing. It's a 2021 5 Series. I'm like, no, this is too much. So, I'm driving this thing all terrified. Of course, everything's under construction. Potholes all over the place. So I'm worried about blowing out rims. I'm like, This is nuts. So I'm avoiding everything. Cross the George Washington Bridge, and then it all occurs. The absolute insanity of downstate through the LIE, which is the Long Island Expressway. That was the first time I've ever seen the most erratic, absolute disregard for speed limits in my entire life. It's 50 to 55 miles an hour on the LIE, and these people are legitimately going 90. And they're weaving all over the place. It was literally like Gotham was on fire, and we're just like, doesn't matter, we're going to full send. We're just going to send it. They have a HOV lane, or a HOV lane, or a HOV lane.
HOV lane, yeah.
Yeah, that thing. So 2 or more people in your car can take this special lane for those that are carpooling and skip out on the other traffic. Well, the other traffic is going faster than that specific lane. So we're all going 90 on this thing. And then I see this one guy pass me in the HOV lane, and you're not supposed to cross the barrier, at all. And this guy literally goes from the HOV lane all the way over across the LIE. And then, so... That's, if I had to number the lanes, he goes from the HOV lane is 1 all the way across to the 4th lane, because there's 3 lanes of our traffic, the normal people traffic. And then, so 1 to 4, 4 to 2, stays there, recrosses over into the HOV, and then goes to 3, and then back to 4, and then back to 2. Going 95 miles an hour in his BMW. There's AMGs all over the place. I'm like, this is just insane.
So did you feel like you fit in because you had a Beamer?
No. No, I was terrified. I didn't even know how to lock the car because the fob made no sense.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what is happening? So I'm like, mega fan, you got to get me to wherever I got to go. Right. So he redirects me to the bar. Thank God. So I get off the LIE, pull into his bar called Shenanigans, free shout out, and it's an Irish pub.
Sweet.
So then I'm sitting there in Clemson shorts and a cutoff tee, and this woman at the bar sees my shorts and says, are those Clemson shorts? And I said, yeah. And she goes, you know Clemson? I said, yeah, I have family that lives in Honea Path. They graduated from from BHP, and they're from, Belton. And she lost her mind. Because she's from Belton, and Belton's population is 4,000 total people.
Oh, really?
So for me to say that, she like literally turned white, thought I killed her, and she's looking at me like, "Oh my God!" She like smacks her boyfriend of like 3-4 years, and she's like, "Did you hear him? Did you hear him?" I'm like, "What is happening?" So I like grab Mega Fan. I'm like, "Can you help me? Like, what's going on?" Nuts. So then her and I talked about South Carolina
Hostile
for a while.
situation.
Yeah, her and I talk about South Carolina for a while, and then we all leave the bar. Wake up the next day for the wedding, go golfing. It was a par 3 course. Hysterical. Absolutely hilarious the whole time. The furthest hole was 100 yards, and we're like, should we get a cart? So we play golf. So many inside jokes. We'll talk off air. And then we get a bacon, egg, and cheese, all one word.
Absolutely.
It's a glorified breakfast sandwich, for those that don't know, on an everything bagel. However, it's the greatest concoction in the world that does not sit well in your stomach.
Oh, no.
It's a rock that just drops into your stomach, and it's like, slowly digest me. It's all you need for the entire day. You'll be fine. And it's so good you can't stop eating it.
Where'd you get it from?
One of his buddies picked it up,
Oh,
and he's
okay.
a local, so
Gotcha.
we knew. So it was a bacon, egg, and cheese, all one word, with hash, everything bagel, and salt and pepper. No ketchup. Bomb.
Yeah.
So good. Then I got a Frappuccino for the first time in probably 2 years. And I forgot how unhealthy they were.
Oh my God, yeah.
So good, dude. It
You
was a
know how many-
surprise frap, bro.
You know how many
Surprise.
calories are in like the Oreo Frappuccinos that Tim Hortons releases?
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
It's like 2,500 calories
Yeah.
per frap.
Perfect.
So she's like, "What do you want?" And Long Island's wild because these people in Long Island, like, first of all, they're New Yorkers, so they love Long Island. Everything's Long Island pride. Like, it's a thing. They're super nice, very, very hospitable people, right? However, they all say the same, like, "Hey, how you doing?" No one cares
No.
really how you're doing at all. It's a
Absolutely.
rhetorical question. Don't ask. So she's
Don't
looking at
answer.
me. Well, yeah. Well, kind of both. You know,
Yeah.
like, don't waste my time. Just shut up and live your life. So she looks at me and she's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, because there's so many options. I've never been there before. I'm like, this place is sweet. I'm trying to like look around, and one of the other locals that's friends with Megafan, he basically ordered for me, and I was like, okay, good. So it's a surprise frap. Had no clue. So I get this thing. Of course, it had to be a large because I'm sorry, large. So take a sip. And I'm like, I'm getting like strawberry, like trying to guess it. And she's like, it's a rainbow cookie. I'm like, okay, first of all, that's the greatest thing someone's ever said to me in like multiple months. And then secondly, like I forgot the whole like Pride Month thing. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that made a ton of sense. Like it all started to click. I was like, perfect. So crushed it. Dude, it was so good, the surprise frap. And then the wedding had Italian food, had a blast, danced, made friends.
They
and
dance
then-
before dinner there, right?
they split up their wedding. So they like dance, then they have the introductions, then they dance, then they have food. Like, dude, the ceremony was at 5:30 p.m. They didn't cut the cake until 9:15.
Yeah. We went to a Long Island wedding too, and it's the same thing. So it's a Long Island thing.
Oh yeah, it's just a downstate. That's how that's
Yeah.
what they do down there.
That's so cool.
They just break everything's broken up into segments, and then they dance in between. So
it
it's
has
a
to help your
nonstop rave.
digestive, right? Your
I-
digestive
I don't
system
know
because
what's
you're,
going on.
you're working all the food through the system.
Yeah, it was wild. So the whole thing was at Megafan's house. Dude, he built this huge bar off his awning. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know my awning in the backyard? Mm-hmm. Okay, blow all the walls out, and then the bar is where the concrete pad ends.
Sure.
It's the whole thing. And then it supports the awning.
Oh, cool.
It's wild. So then he's got that. There's an in-ground pool. I'm like, dude, we're in Long Island. Like, what is going on? And then you realize all of like you're always surrounded by water, sure, but it's a huge suburb. So there's strip plazas everywhere and strip malls, and then there's trees everywhere. There's like woods, baseball fields. I'm like, this is not stereotypical what you would think when you
Right.
think downstate. It's crazy. Long Island's actually really cool. So yeah, just a really, really good time. And then I drove home, and then finally like put my bags down, stole a hat from the photo booth. May or may not have happened. It's an Indiana Jones hat. It's amazing. So yeah, just a really good time. Food was awesome. The hospitality was bar none. But yeah, just
That's cool.
just
I'm
nuts.
glad you had fun.
Nuts.
Now you're back to reality.
Yeah. Now I'm back to reality, and we got to grind. So we have
Yeah, we
like
do.
multiple interviews coming up. People are reaching out to us saying like, hey, you got to interview these people, which is great. So Cocktail Post coming out soon. We've got to update the calendar every 3 seconds. It's nuts. So then we got the 4th of July coming up. It's a busy week.
Yeah, what are you doing? Because last time I talked to you 14 days ago, you just didn't know.
I have a party every day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh,
there's
cool.
there's a different party for a different person. So
That's fun though, right?
yeah, it's all like family stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
But a couple friends or whatever. But yeah, it's nuts. So what do you got?
Same thing. Gina's friends that we stayed with in Indiana are coming in.
Oh, nice. Are
Yeah.
they staying here?
No.
Where are they staying?
They have family here, so they're going to stay with their family. And then, so they're going to come here, I think, on Friday. And then we're going to go to his parents' house on the 4th because they do like a crazy fireworks display. They've been doing
Sweet.
it for years, and they just like go all out. So we'll go there. We'll chill there for a little bit. I'm pretty sure. I was half listening to Gina when she was telling me this, so I'm not 100% sure of the plans.
Says every man ever.
Right.
I was half listening to my wife. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But it's going to be fun. I mean, the 4th is always fun. It's stressful to figure out plans sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you have to do something
Well,
to celebrate America.
exactly. It's one of the greatest
country in the
holidays we
world.
have.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it is the greatest country in the world. So I have to say, I finally accomplished my goal, Derek.
What was that?
I made you cry.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So
I was a wreck.
it was emotional, but things were fine. Everything was fine. So it was a really, really good time.
Yeah.
It was a blast. But yeah, my sister and I had our dance at my wedding. Derek witnessed it. Not a dry eye in the tent.
Not at all.
And I finally accomplished my goal of making you cry. So
I mean, it's really not that hard. It's really not. Like, I'm gonna try my hardest not to cry on camera. Ever. But I have a feeling it's going to happen eventually. Because we're gonna make some monumental steps, and it's gonna be hard to have other people talk to us on camera and not have that happen. It's just gonna happen. But yes, your wedding, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was very relatable to my situation. So it just spiraled to like, it was difficult. I obviously didn't do a very good job at holding it in because it just came out. So
dude, you came over and you looked at me and I'm like, really, you? I
Yeah.
got you? Like,
Yeah.
how? There's no way you're a rock, dude. You're a stone wall. I was like, this doesn't
really,
make...
I'm surprised that you think that way, dude.
You're like, I have a leaky foundation in my house, just like I have a leaky foundation in my tear ducts. You're like, nothing but water everywhere.
Stress and sadness, stress. How do I put this? Seeing people happy and proud of an accomplishment and seeing people cry make me cry. So accomplishments make me cry more than sad situations. Your situation was different because it was so relatable to me that seeing everyone cry, having that relatable situation and having it related to me destroyed me. But like sad things in movies, sad things in that doesn't get to me. It's more like, oh my God, I finally accomplished my dream and this is how I like that type of motivational and knowing how much work they put in to meet a goal and having them cry at the end of it because it's just a sigh of relief. That's what gets to me.
I cry more. So, for example, you get married. I'm emotional for you guys and the love that I have for you both.
Mm-hmm.
But then seeing your parents cry because they're so happy and proud of you
Right.
guys, that's what will just destroy me.
Oh, sure.
But yeah. So
But like even Golden Buzzer stuff on America's Got Talent.
I know,
Like
dude.
that gets me because
Dude.
I'm just so happy for them that they finally accomplished their dream, and I'm just like, why am I crying? I know these people for 3 minutes, and it's a cut clip of their accomplishment, and I'm tearing up. I don't understand what's going
it's
on.
the ridiculous music they got in the back. I'm telling you, because then
That
they,
is very
they
true.
edit it, and then there's the
Yeah.
lighting, and then it's just like, and then you're looking at your phone, then your phone falls on your face. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't even care. I don't even care. And then you go right back to it, and you're just like, I'm just trying to be in the moment. Yeah, it's a disaster. Homecoming videos do the same thing. Yeah, like someone who's paralyzed walks on graduation day.
So I was listening to this podcast, and they reached 1,000 episodes, and it's a fantasy football podcast, and throughout that whole episode, they had like NFL players calling in, congratulating them because they're such an influence in the fantasy football community that they've formed these relationships with NFL players. So NFL players were calling in, like I was like, oh, that's sweet, that's really cool. Coaches were calling in, best friends, other people in the industry were calling in, and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is awesome. And then at the end, their wives came in after hours and filmed around the table and started like saying, I'm so proud of these guys, like it's all this stuff. And I started like, Jesus, man, why am I tearing up for this? It doesn't make any sense. But at that moment, I'm like, it's their whole life coming into like
Perspective.
and like not a finale because it's not there, but it's a huge milestone that they never thought they'd get to. That if something like that ever happened with us, I wouldn't be able to be on camera at all because I would literally lose my mind. I wouldn't be able to do it.
You know, there's fans that are already planning stuff.
I hope so. Speaking of which, we have 100th episode coming up. What are we going to do?
This
is
is what we
2
always
years,
do. We
dude.
literally have no clue about what we're going to do, and then we just
But we have
something.
to do something big. So that being said, obviously it's our 100th episode coming up. If you guys have any ideas or any wishes that you want us to do for our 100th episode, it doesn't have to be anything monumental, but something big. For our 52nd episode, we did a recap where Mike and I went and watched our first episode ever, and it was the cringiest thing in the entire world. I mean, obviously there'll be a post because that's our 2-year episode. There'll be a post about where we've come and that we've built this entire studio, and it's just going to be like mind-blowing that we, for some reason, deciding to start on a folding table was a good idea. It was never going to be a good idea.
It's all we had, dude.
I know, really. But so for our 50th episode, we did a taste. No, was it a taste test?
For our 50th?
Yeah.
No.
No, 50th was Ron Swanson. We had the steaks.
Yes.
So our 100th, we're going to have to do something exciting, but not.
It's got to be relevant to us.
Yeah. So if you have any ideas, let us know in the comments below because we are open to suggestions. And this is the 93rd episode that we have right now. So we don't really have that much longer until that 100th episode.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, we're actually starting to get like feedback and comments and stuff, so that's really cool. So please keep doing that because the YouTube interaction is hysterical 9 times out of 10.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's hilarious. So one other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and it's kind of off topic, but did you see that Fantasy Island got a new owner?
Yeah, that's a couple weeks old.
I didn't see that until today. I saw a Buffalo News article that came out today that said that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't click on the link because you got to pay like 99 cents to be a member of the
Yeah,
Buffalo
you gotta
News. And the Buffalo
subscribe
News is
to
a
watch
joke
it.
anyway.
Correct.
So I'm like, I'm not going to subscribe to this just to read an article about something that I kind of moderately care about.
Right.
But what do you think about amusement parks in general?
They're amazing. However, Fantasy Island is not amazing.
But when
at
was the
all.
last time you went to Darien Lake? I think we've talked about this
We
before.
did.
But
we did.
I don't see a situation where even something outside of Fantasy Island would go up and I'd be like, I should go check that out.
Well, you would if you had kids.
Sure. I don't know if I can handle roller coasters anymore. Like
You're fine. Be an athlete.
Like would maybe throw up. Like
Over
I don't,
what?
Like the motion. Like I don't know if my body can handle it because I haven't done anything like that in so long. When was the last time you were on a roller coaster?
Oh, it's been years.
Yeah.
But I love them. I'll never get sick of
I
them.
love them too, but I don't know if my body remembers to love it.
Here's what we'll do.
What if you went on one of those UFO things that started spinning you around a
Oh,
million?
I hated those as a kid. I hated those as a kid because then some Einstein decided to make him like move, so the
Oh,
seats
yeah.
go up and down. Like, what is wrong with you?
and then it would go like it would spin this way, and then it would start going vertically. So you're going all over
and
the
it's
place.
like, oh yeah, and then some carny put it together. Perfect. How is that not an OSHA violation? Seriously, like, what do they have to follow? Rules, regulations, and guidelines.
We couldn't use an impact gun to do something into the cement because it wasn't OSHA certified, and that is
Right.
what the hell's going on there.
It's a disaster. But I think everything would change if you had kids, because then you can make it
Sure.
like a yearly trip or like a fun weekend. They have different kids events, and it's just something different to do with your kids, because you as a parent do get bored of, and you know, you have trouble coming up with ideas
Yeah.
of what to do, you know?
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Luckily, Buffalo's booming, so there are outlets. However, you can only do so much.
Do you want more?
No.
Yeah, so for everybody listening that is a little bit confused because we haven't talked about this yet and we're not going to talk about it, kind of shocker, we are now taking the Wednesday whiskey reviews out of these weekly episodes because we have found out through conversations with people who are in constant communication with us to give us feedback. We love feedback, even if it's constructive. We want to continue to grow this podcast to something that's enjoyable for you guys, because chances are if it's enjoyable for you, it's going to be enjoyable for strangers that don't know us. And if it's not enjoyable for you, people aren't going to like it outside of our friend group. So that being said, we've had a couple of conversations where the Wednesday Whiskey Review posts have been somewhat repetitive because you not only hear it in the Wednesday Whiskey section, but also in our weekly episode. So we've decided to take it completely out of this episode and film it in a different scene. We're actually going to be shooting over here to my right and Mike's left to discuss the Wednesday Whiskey Review in front of the chalkboard, because I moved it from behind me, and really make it more of an engaging experience rather than just another section of our show. Our show is going to continue to be unscripted, or if we want to include more scripted topics like our segment miniseries that we used to do a few months ago, we'll do that. But we want to take the whiskey section out of it to, again, separate us from being a whiskey podcast to be a local podcast, but that rates whiskey. So it's kind of that dynamic that we wanted to continue to further do, and also not make it repetitive for the people that watch Wednesday and Monday.
Case in point, watch everything, please.
Yeah, really.
We appreciate it.
We put out a lot of content.
Too much.
I think so.
We've discussed it a lot, but we don't want to saturate your social media feeds, and then we also don't want to saturate your YouTube feed with consistent uploads where you literally have to schedule time out of your day. We just want to kind of keep it consistent and then post it so that you can enjoy it as it goes out. But there's two sides to the coin, right? We're trying to grow this, so we want to put content out, but then we also want to make it enjoyable for you guys. So there's the fun, interactive, like friends and family portion of it, but then there's also the business side of it where we have to do things a certain way to make sure it reaches the most amount of people. That's why we're across the board with social media platforms, including the China TikTok, and we're doing things to kind of get us out there. But again, nothing beats you guys sharing it, you guys commenting, and then you guys being a part of our journey, because your feedback literally directly impacts how we do this. And we want it to be fun for you. We're upgrading our equipment all the time to make sure that we're making things more enjoyable so that it looks better on your TVs and that you're getting the best bang for your time. Yeah. Because, again, we are not getting paid. Speaking of moments that we'll cry, whenever in the next 45 years we get a 25-cent check from the YouTubes, I think we're going to cry.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because it's just going to be that culmination of everything, all of our hard work coming together.
And it meant that we finally reached 1,000 subscribers.
Correct, which is still so far away, so please subscribe if you are not subscribed. Our friends over at Addie's just received an incredible award, too, which we should probably talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
They received, through the Buffalo Spree, which is a very credible outlet here in Buffalo, the best large liquor store in Western New York, which
is huge.
Because if you think of some of the conglomerates that are here, they don't. Addie's is a small liquor, like they're a large liquor store, but they're they're family owned, and they have they just do things so amazingly that it's great to see them be recognized. Because especially because they've had issues with some of the larger liquor stores. So seeing that, it's incredible.
Which I think is good, because that means you're doing something right.
Right.
You know, kind of like big tech. If big tech kind of attacks you, you must be doing something right in some regards. So, yeah, we're thrilled. We love working with Addie's. Mm-hmm. Their selection is great, which is huge for us, because then we're able to continue pumping out a ton of content, but then also they're just a really, really good family to work with.
Yeah.
And in that, it allows us to grow with them, which is sweet, because obviously they're on a different tier than we are, but they're incorporating us in ways that we never imagined, we never thought possible. We're allowed to, literally, we text, we call, we email, we coordinate, and then everything just flows organically. And that entire relationship we're beyond grateful for, because we never imagined that would happen ever. Mm-hmm. So we're fired up for you guys to win that award, absolutely. But then we're also fired up for the work that we all know is going to happen, just because we're friends and we agree on everything. And I mean, great minds think alike, and it's really cool to have that relationship. So cheers to your continued success, and we're looking forward to, in any way we can, further help you guys. By all means.
Yeah. So today I was thinking of, I was doing some work off of editing to look at different ways that we can improve the podcast in the future. And I'm talking future. And I'm not going to reveal anything that I'm thinking of. But it got me thinking of what we call our listeners.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a name for their
Their
listeners. So what about like the happy hour crew? Like it's simple. It's kind of like, well, yeah, but like happy hour goers, like this doesn't make any sense. And it has to relate to our whole thing. What about just like the crew?
Yeah, the crew, and then they can be a crew member,
Yeah,
and they're a part of the crew.
that's what I'm thinking. Let us know in the comments below again. Do you like that name? We're open to changing it, but that's just what I was typing up some things and I'm like, this makes sense.
Yeah, like if you have suggestions, let us know. Which I'm sure somebody has an idea, but again, we're game.
Yeah.
Literally, the things you say can and or do directly impact how we do this. But this whole thing is great. We have mega fans, we have friends, which we say all the time in our social media posts. People we work with are like the boys, so
Yeah.
or gals, just because we do work with all the genders.
I mean, I feel like boys in general, like that term is kind of like guys. Like, it doesn't, I mean,
Yeah,
it does
and then-
have a gender associated with it, but it's not like implied. Like, if I say, hey guys, what's going on? Like, that doesn't mean only the men, what's up?
Well,
It
right.
means like everybody. And the
And-
same thing is like, what's up, boys? Well, boys is a little bit more direct, but
well, but it's also less. So guys is a little more professional.
yeah.
Excuse me. If you're talking in that generalized term with like, hey, the guy's over at, and then you state the business name, opposed to our boys or the boys over at.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, it just kind of reads differently, but either way. So there's that. But let us know if you think like crew member for Happy Hour Crew is something that you're into. If not, be blunt. We don't care. We have
Yeah.
thick skin, but I don't know, ideas. Just spitballing over here.
Like the happy hour crew. I think that'd be cool. Like, put it on a shirt or something.
Yeah.
And once we get to that point, people can start, getting a little,
Get a little frisky.
hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Yeah.
Well, thank everybody for joining. This has been episode 93 of the Buffalo Happy Hour podcast. If you are interested in the Wednesday whiskey review that we did with Kamiki Japanese Whiskey, check it out on last Wednesday. Again, these are not going to be in the weekly episodes anymore. So if that is something that interests you, make sure you do watch the Wednesday section. We talk about the rating and we talk about the history all in one, and include the final rating, which was a feedback too on one of our videos that they were like, where do we get the final rating? I'm like, yeah, I know, like that's kind of challenging. So this is a better way to do everything. So thank you again. If you are interested in a bottle of our bourbon, we've sold 75 of them,
Isn't that insane?
which is ridiculous.
Out of 120.
The day that we posted that, we blew, like,
it boomed.
it boomed, dude.
Yeah.
It was shocking, the response for that. So at the time recording this, we've sold 75. Get in soon because they're going to be gone. There's no way about that they're not going. We've had discussions with Addies about doing events that could take up 50 bottles. We can't even do that anymore. Like, we've sold so much that we can't even, we have to peel that back.
Which I think is honestly fine. Like we
Absolutely,
discussed,
100%.
definitely have the demand up front. We know they're sold. It's great from a business standpoint, but then also it makes people want to get in on the second one because I'm going to be honest, it is very rare to go down the spreadsheet and see somebody buying one bottle. Everybody wants two. They want to drink one, save one, or they want to gift some. So they're buying 3-4 bottles. It's uncapped. I mean, if
Yeah.
somebody showed up and said, I'm buying 120 bottles, it'd be like, okay, maybe save some, like take,
One for us.
yeah, like take 116 so we can get 4,
Yeah.
but like math, but like something, but it, generally speaking, most people are buying anywhere from 1 to 5 bottles.
Yeah.
So it's nuts and it's going quick because it's only 120 bottles. It's limited release. The support is ridiculous and we're so grateful for it. So thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, we're fired up. So
Yeah.
let us know. This is not going to be the last one in regards to the
But it will
specific-
always be the first.
Yes, but it'll always
Which
be the
is
first.
huge.
And regarding the blend, I don't know if we're going to do it again. There's a lot of outside factors that come into that decision based on supply and actually coming up with the product to make it. So, again, it is the first. It's 120 bottles, limited release, single barrel with 3-chord. We have our own label. It's epic. And let us know if you want one. Drop a comment, DM, email. If you're super close and you're inside of our bubble, shoot a text or phone call, let us know, and then we'll add you to our pre-order spreadsheet that we have. It's a shared Google Doc, which thank God for technology because that literally changes the game.
Right.
And yeah, we're fired up. So this is it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all of you.
Follow our Instagram at Buffalo Happy Hour 12. Follow our Facebook at Buffalo Happy Hour, and follow our TikTok at Buffalo Happy Hour. We post cocktail posts. We post the Wednesday whiskey reviews, and also just us doing stupid things. So go follow those platforms. We'd really appreciate it. And you can be notified of every time that we're uploading. Mike, I am so happy that you and Colleen finally got to be married. It is now so much stress taken off your plate. I'm very happy for you guys. And now you can just enjoy being married and not have to worry about in a year you have to do this again. So congratulations to both of you. I love both of you. Everybody, thank you again for joining. This has been episode 93. Please remember to drink responsibly, be a good person. And Michael,
Do not litter.
we're out.